My name is Rolly Carencia. Pronouns are he, his, him. And I have the honor to serve as the Director of Student Life here at the School of Professional Studies, SPS, as we call it. Thank you. Thank you. I know a lot of you in this crowd, so I appreciate that. And I wanted to first and foremost thank all of you for joining us and part of this historical night. This is our very first SPS Next. So years from now, when you all are like, I remember I went to the very, very first SPS Next, it is this evening. So thank you all for showing up and being here. Before we dive in, I did want to throw some special thank yous out there. Obviously, our faculty, our staff, alumni that are joining us tonight. So thank you for joining us. A special shout out to our fearless leader of the Division of Student Affairs, Dean Zalon Crawford in the back. If you could go ahead and thank you, wave. And a special thank you to really the student life team. As I walked up here, everyone's like, oh, yay, congratulations. This is a great event. And I'm like, this is all the team's work and really our student life team that's in the back and our student assistants. This is a dream come true. So I did want to throw that special thank you out there. For those that don't know, we are actually celebrating graduation or Graduate Appreciation Week. It's a nationally recognized week to celebrate graduate and professional students. While we hope to celebrate graduate students every week at SPS, we always try to make this week a little extra special, which is what sparked the creation of this evening's event. At the start of the semester, the student assistants were asked to create programming ideas for the week. And our student assistant, that is, again, the dream maker here, Boris Kuhorn, that's right, developed SPS Next. Boris recognized that SPS is made of students from around the world, from different points in their lives and careers. So he was like, our students have stories, passions, and ideas to be shared. SPS Next was created to capture some of these stories to give them a platform to engage the community. As a current strategic communication student, I was hoping a little bit, there you go. Boris also recognized the skill set behind impactful storytelling. Therefore, he connected the speakers you'll see today with 4 staff and faculty members to provide advice and coaching. So there is intentionality behind this. So again, thank you, Boris. I'm so excited for all of you to hear from each of our wonderful speakers who are seated right in front of me. And I will say their outfits are on point. So finally, you're all done hearing from me. I want to introduce really the creator of this event and really the legend in the years to come this evening, and our MC, Boris Kuhorn.
Thank you, Rolly, for the way too kind words. I think you're hyping me up a bit too much. I also want to thank the team for giving me this opportunity to organize this, because without Laura's always saying yes to every idea I have, John's support here with the clicker just now, thank you guys so much. And of course, thank you for the speakers for willing to get up here for the very first time, and I can't wait to hear from you. So without further ado, our first speaker is a New York native born in Brooklyn. Now, Sharnice Neale-Ottley is a student in the strategic communication program, just like me. And as a former dancer, Sharnice is motivated by inspiring others through the art of storytelling. So you can see the theme here. As she looks to the future, she's excited for the opportunity to give back and push her community forward and positively impact the next generation. She credits her commitment to family and community by the powerful Trinidadian woman that raised her, Enez and Michelle Ottley. In her talk, Sharnice will discuss the impact of success deadlines and how it affects today's generation, especially those in a millennial environment, in a world of 20 under 20, 30 under 30. How do we meet those criteria, and how do we deal with them? The title of her talk is Exceeding Limitations, Finding Yourself Beyond Success Timelines. Please welcome Sharnice.
Hello, everyone. Ooh, this mic is powerful. Okay. Thank you all for being here today. I'm very delighted to be the first speaker tonight. I'm a little nervous, admittedly, but here goes. My entire life has centered around success. Throughout my academic career, I maintained straight A's. I was a student athlete playing varsity tennis all 4 years of high school. I served on executive boards of student organizations. I frequently engaged in extracurricular activities. I did everything. I did everything because my goals mean the most to me, and I set a very high standard for myself. So when I was tasked to write about where I see myself 10 years in the future for my 10th grade English class, I was elated. This was going to be the easiest A of my life because at 15, I envisioned my 25-year-old self to be married with children, living in a 2,000 square foot home, driving an all-Black Bentley Continental GT convertible, and admiring my framed PhD hanging on my bedroom wall each day as I made my way to work. At the time, all of these things seemed super reasonable for the time frame. I mean, come on, 10 years? Let's think about it. I'll finish undergrad by 21, grad school by 23. Kids and marriage will have to happen somewhere in there, but I'll get it done because for as long as I can remember, I have had a set plan for my life. However, as I got older, I came to realize that nothing is ever set in stone. And I had no idea how much that lesson was going to change my life. When I arrived at Baruch's campus 2 years later, I was excited to study visual arts and communications. As a former dancer, I reacted to art differently. It inspired me in a different way. It spoke to me differently. It's almost as if the words would float toward me through each paint stroke. At the time, my biggest dream was to go to Paris and visit the Louvre, to get up close and personal with all the art that I had studied. And I did exactly that. 7 years later, I booked a flight from JFK to Charles de Gaulle Airport in Paris, France, as you see here. It was now the eve of my 25th birthday. My cousin and I, who's in the audience right now, my cousin and I toured the Louvre earlier that morning, and I got to breathe the same air as this lady, the Mona Lisa. I got to breathe the same air as the seated scribe of ancient Egypt. I got to breathe the same air as, okay, well, you probably don't want to hear that, but it was basically the same exact way I had dreamt about it during my time at Baruch College. Yet, when we returned to our flat in the 4th arrondissement, I instantly burst into tears. What's wrong, Sharnice? Understandably, my cousin was completely taken aback by my random hysterics. And the only thing that I could tell her was that I was a failure. You remember that list of goals that I had when I was 15, expecting to get done by 25? Well, here I was, 8 hours away from my 25th birthday, and I hadn't crossed off any of them. I wasn't married. There weren't any kids. No 2,000 square foot home, sadly. No PhD. And the biggest heartbreaker, no Bentley Continental convertible parked in my driveway. I mean, honestly, I didn't even have the driveway. Within the time since my 10th grade writing assignment, I had ran into so many people my age, sometimes younger, achieving more, doing more, making more of an impact in the world than I was, or at least than I thought I was. That, partnered with my fast approaching milestone birthday, brought on intense despair. and I began to experience what I've now come to call success deadline hysteria. So success deadline hysteria is essentially the feeling that you get. It feels as if the world and your life is ending, all because you didn't achieve a specific goal within a specific time frame. Who was I now that I didn't accomplish the goals I set 10 years ago? Could I still say that I hold myself to a high standard? Could I still say that I'm a determined overachiever? In a world of 20 under 20 and 30 under 30 lists, who am I when I don't fit that criterion? Not only did I feel the weight of my own expectations, but I felt the weight of society's expectations of me as a 20-something-year-old. And the sad part about that is I'm not alone in feeling this way. Over the years, I had many talks with friends, colleagues, peers who felt exactly how I did. And it encouraged me to dig a bit deeper and to do some research. According to an article on theatlantic.com, millennials were the first to experience social media. Therefore, we are more compelled to compare ourselves to others than other generations before and after us. I found that to be very insightful because having constant access to someone else's highlight reel, it makes you admire and desire what they have while also resenting yourself for not having it. Textbook envy. Many therapists can confirm that frequently remaining in an envious state causes high levels of anxiety. It causes an unhealthy attachment to perfectionism. And that pushes so many of us to drugs, alcohol, unfortunately, even suicide. As a young Black woman and first-generation American, I set my standards high because I have to. I am responsible for carrying my family forward, for breaking generational disparities and afflictions. Despite the fact that I set an overly ambitious goal for myself at 15 years old, I was still very envious of everyone that I interacted that I felt was surpassing me in life. And that envy clouded my judgment and it didn't allow me to see the bigger picture. That was until a year ago. So I took some time, I temporarily deleted my social medias and I went into the quiet. And I spent a lot of time looking within myself to try to understand why this sense of failure continued to linger. And then it hit me. And I want to share this breakthrough with you all and hopefully help you all come to your own breakthroughs. So let's chat. How many of you have experienced what I've talked about tonight? I figured that. Okay, so for those of you who have, my question is, out of all the goals that you have for yourself, how many of them are for your benefit? Some of them, most of them, right? So if that's the case, if this is for your benefit and to make you better, why does it matter what age you complete them? Or better yet, why does it matter what other people think and feel about how and when you complete these goals? Once you have the answers to these questions, reassess. Think about what it would mean to accomplish your goal past your deadline. So think about it. If you originally set a plan to purchase your first home by 30, but you weren't able to do it until 35 because of course life lifed, as it always does that make it any less of an accomplishment? Okay, a lot of you said no, but for those of you who might think yes, why is that? Let's think about why these feelings are coming up. Open up to your trusted communities and shed light on these issues. Setting high goals for yourself is very important, but once it becomes a prison for you, once it negatively impacts your life and it negatively clouds your judgment and makes you doubtful in your abilities to succeed, you need to reevaluate. The sad part about my historical episode on the eve of my 25th birthday is that it was 100% pessimistic. I had just given myself this life-altering trip to Paris something that I've dreamt about for 5+ years. I danced amongst almost every art piece that was in my textbooks in undergrad, and I still belittled that because it wasn't on my list. I completely ignored that accomplishment because it wasn't as big as what I might have seen other people doing at the time. I'm so glad that I know better now. Timing is everything, and we need to understand that sometimes certain things aren't supposed to happen by a certain age. That's just how it is. Comparison is the theft of joy. When I got off that plane from Paris, I applied to this master's program, and I was rejected. Had I continued to allow my success deadline and my envy to take over my life, I wouldn't have applied again. I wouldn't have met all these amazing people in my cohort. And most of all, I wouldn't be speaking to you all tonight. So I really want you all to think about this and to take the first leap. Begin to positively reinforce yourself and your dreams and your abilities, because you are more than capable no matter the timeline. Thank you.